Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cinema Rogues. My name is Andrew, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Guy.
Howdy.
Hi. We are not in person this time. We are over the internet, like usual. To get some housekeeping out of the way, please go listen to me at Board Game Barbarians. It is a board game podcast that I do with Justin. You can find Guy at Sidetail Studios on YouTube and on Twitch. And you can also listen to Retro Warriors, our parent podcast, which is also Justin's show. But yeah, what have you been up to, Guy?
I don't know, not a lot. Playing games, watching movies, the usual.
Nice.
We've been watching the women's Olympic soccer, the U.S. women's team.
How's that going?
It's going all right. They lost in the semifinals. I guess spoiler, but at this point it's going to be like 2 weeks later, so whatever.
Yeah.
They lost in the semifinals, and so they're going to play in the bronze medal game tomorrow.
They lost
Thursday.
to Canada, right?
Yep.
How dare they?
Blame Canada. That's, I don't know. I have a problem with the Olympics in general, not the Olympics themselves, but the coverage of the Olympics and society at large today. Just because we were talking about a little bit earlier in the Discord how you can't get through like a regular work day at this point without having all the results for the day spoiled for you.
I think I can, but that's because I don't pay attention to the Olympics at all.
I turned off like the alerts on my like Yahoo Sports app, right?
Mm-hmm.
To make sure that I didn't get it. And then like on Thursday at like 3:30, Apple News is like, see how the U.S. women feel after losing 0-1 to Canada, like in the headline that it pops on my watch real quick. So I've read like half the headline before my brain's processed what I'm reading.
Well, that's your fault for having any technology whatsoever on your person.
Right.
At a given time.
Like, thanks. God damn it. But yeah. So generally speaking, I've been watching Olympic coverage because it's interesting to me. I like sports, and it's a time to watch sports that you generally don't see.
You like sports and you don't care who knows.
That's right. It's my secret shame, I guess. We watched Dating Through a Wall. I forgot what the name of the actual show is.
I don't know what you're talking about. So.
Oh, Love at First Sight.
Okay.
It's a show on Netflix where we watched season 1 like right at the beginning of the pandemic, like right during lockdown. In fact, no, right before lockdown. We watched it. We were watching some of it like during Mardi Gras last year.
Okay.
And basically it's a show where these people, like through the course of the first like 2 weeks of the show, are dating each other, and all they can see is like, they have like meetings in these pods, these quote unquote date pods, and the pods or the rooms that they're in are separated by a wall where you can see like the shadow of the person. But basically the premises of the show is they have to get to know each other without seeing each other, and then, propose to one of the other people. So it's like 8 guys and 8 girls, and eventually they all propose to one another or whatnot. And then they get married like immediately after. Like once they propose, they can see each other and they get married. Like it's a done deal. And then the show follows, what happens over the next few weeks while they send them on their honeymoon, and they ask him after like 30 days, do you still want to stay married or whatever, or do you want to get divorced?
I hate those shows because no matter what, they're all attractive people.
Yeah.
Like every single one. Like there's a new one on Netflix where they wear they do like full on makeup, like animal masks. But they show all these people without the animal masks in the trailer, and they're all like fucking gorgeous people. So I'm like, who cares? Like, there's not a single person that looks average or normal. Like, they're all just very gorgeous people. So what's the point of the show when everyone knows, even though they're wearing shitty, like, animal masks, that they're not going to put, like, a normal-looking person on this show?
Yeah, no, I get that. I don't know. So we started watching, or we watched that show like last year, and they've just released a new episode that's like 1 year later. Where's everybody at? And I watched like part of it, like I was going in and out of it while I was doing other things, and it's the most like drama llama thing I've ever seen. It was fantastic. Finished the last episodes of The Flash and Superman and Lois. They broadcast those like a month ago, and I finally watched those.
Nice.
And then watched the Masters of the Universe Revelation.
I started the first episode and did not finish that.
Oh yeah?
I don't know what it is, man. Like most animated shows, like I can't do anymore. Like for whatever reason, like I can still do Venture Brothers, I can still do Rick and Morty, I can do like a couple other animated shows, but most like newer animated shows, including anime, like I just can't do for whatever reason.
I don't know. Maybe it's just not your aesthetic anymore, man.
I guess so. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I got like halfway through it and I was like, this is okay, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, like it's like the first half of the first season, so it's only like 5 episodes.
I guess so.
Like really, I watched it because Justin was like, yeah, I watched it and it was okay. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll check it out. Why not? I enjoyed He-Man when I was a kid.
I mean, that's what I tried to do too, because Justin was like, yeah, it was good.
And then like I kept seeing like all these YouTube like videos of like, oh, how Kevin Smith ruined Masters of the Universe, or like Masters of the Universe, a disaster, you know, like shit like that. It's like, I think, and I'm sure it's just part of like the YouTube algorithm and what gets hits, but like, it seems like everything these days is just like shitting on everything that comes out, no matter like if it's okay or if it's good or if it's bad. I get recommended like a million fucking videos of, oh my God, this is a disaster.
Well, from what Justin told me, like a bunch of people, like a bunch of namesake characters die in that show, like permanently. So like I can semi understand the like ruin the show. Like I can kind of understand that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like Kevin Smith put out like a statement about it because I guess not like a statement, but he's doing an interview and kind of went off on people who are like, this isn't the He-Man that I expected, and he's like, I don't know what you want. We're telling more stories. Just because it's not focused, there's more than just He-Man in this universe, and we're playing with other characters.
Yeah, but I could see the same thing if there was like a new Superman animated series and Superman dies in the first episode. Like, I could see people being upset. I guess we'll get into what I actually wrote down what I watched this time.
Nice.
It had been such a problem the last several times. I rewatched Luca and Tomorrow War because my wife hadn't seen them, and so I wanted her to experience them.
Did you change your opinion about either one of them?
Nope, there's still the same opinion. But
all right.
Yeah. I watched Space Jam 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
What a movie.
Yeah, I still haven't watched it yet. My kid, my youngest kid says if he watches it again with us, it'll be his 6th time to watch it. And then he's like, do you want to watch it?
Holy crap. It's basically Space Jam 1, only newer. Like, they didn't really change much. And at one point, my wife goes, why is this called Space Jam 2? There's no space. And I was like, it's cyberspace. And she was like, I hate you so much.
Awesome.
Because it doesn't take place in space. Like, there's no space part of it. It takes place in a computer. So I went and saw The Green Knight. What a fantastic movie.
That's Dev Patel, right?
Yep. What a great movie that was. If you like just amazing cinematography, I can't recommend it enough. It's a very slow movie, but it's a slow burn, but a good burn. Like, it's pretty. Like, it's enjoyable the entire time because it's good. It's nice to look at. I also watched No Sudden Move, which was supposed to be the episode for this time, which is not. For anyone listening, we're going to do Gunpowder Milkshake. We said we would do either No Sudden Move or Gunpowder Milkshake, and we chose Gunpowder Milkshake because I watched No Sudden Move, and it made me want to throw up because of the camera lens that they used. Does not work well with your home TV. Otherwise, the movie was fine. Like, it was acted very well. There were some instances where both me and my wife were like, I couldn't tell where they wanted to go with the story, and I guess I figured it out at the end, but it was kind of convoluted in the middle. So it was a little bit hard to follow. And then I watched all of the Fear Streets on Netflix, 1, 2, and 3.
What year did that first one of those come out?
Which one? Fear Street?
Yeah.
They all came out this year.
Oh. Okay, then I have no idea what that is. What is that?
They all came out at the same time. Fear Street is an R.L. Stine young adult book series. And they did a movie of all 3 of the books, I assume.
So you watched Goosebumps with Jack Black? That's what you're telling me?
There's no Jack Black, unfortunately.
Boo.
Yeah. But no, it's like, it's supposed to be like scarier Goosebumps, basically.
Oh, okay.
And it was okay. It was fine. It was. I don't regret watching them. I don't think I'll watch them ever again, but I don't regret watching them. They were fine. Like, they were fine, scary movies. I think they could have been more scary, but I think they were more like thriller than they were scary. Cool. It's probably like a terrible review. They were okay. I don't regret my decision.
Yeah, well, I guess the question is, what does it take for you to regret your decision to watch a movie?
Being terrible, I guess. They're only like an hour and a half long each, so they're more like, it's more like extended like episodes, basically. And they were, I don't know, it's hard. They weren't great. I'm not going to say that they were like amazing or anything, but they weren't terrible. Like, I had fun watching them. So I guess that's all there needs to be. I guess we'll get into news. What you got one piece of news here.
I do. Scarlett Johansson has sued Disney over the streaming of Black Widow and the revenue that she's not getting.
Oh my God.
Yeah, imagine that. So, and this would really be a non-story, to be honest with you. If Disney had handled this like any kind of normal person, I guess. I don't know. I guess Disney's not a person, but like, long story short, the Scarlett Johansson's deal on Black Widow had to tie into the box office numbers, right?
Yeah.
And then Black Widow got delayed because coronavirus, and then they released it simultaneously on Disney Plus, Premiere Access. And so far on Disney Plus, it's gotten a reported $60 million in revenue. And so Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney, saying, hey, I should get a cut of that, per my deal. It's unfair that you have, released this thing in this dual capacity, and you're excluding, my profits from what that is.
Right. Her contract stated that she would get a extended bonus from the theatrical release, not the streaming release, for anyone that's wondering. Emma Stone is also looking at a lawsuit as well at this point for Cruella.
Yeah, there's been a couple. Like, it's kind of opened the floodgates. Gerard Butler is suing for Olympus Has Fallen, I believe.
Yeah, I saw that. I guarantee you all of this shit's going to be taken care of outside of courts.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, it's one of those things, like I said, it'd probably be a non-story. It would just be people working out, like rich people working out how they're going to get paid. And it's, there's a fair and equitable way to do it. And I'm sure that's what they'll come to. The only reason that it's news to me at this point is because Disney put out a statement that basically said that there's no merit to the lawsuit, and frankly, it's kind of I don't think they said frankly, and I don't have it written down, but I'm paraphrasing.
They basically said, how dare you? COVID-19 is happening. This is the situation we're in. Like, how
dare you be so callous towards, COVID-19?
Yeah.
Which has nothing to do with how she's getting paid. And I just, fucking Disney's pissing me off lately. But yeah, anyway, so that's that story.
In other Disney news, the person that pitched the Marvel What If television show had Endgame, Thor Love and Thunder, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 ruined for them when they pitched the plots to those movies for their show, which I thought was pretty funny.
So the person who...
So you know the show What If, right?
Yes.
It's like, what if this happened in the Marvel universe?
Right, well, they're going to have like... Captain British Peggy or whatever her name is.
Yeah, Peggy. I can't remember. Also, I remembered until you said Captain Peggy British, and I was like, nope, that's gone from my memory.
But like Peggy Carter, as the British Captain America instead of Steve Rogers as regular.
They have zombies. They have a bunch of other stuff. But apparently, during the pitch process for like, what about an episode where this happens? But it was the plot to Endgame. Or they were like, what about a plot where this happens? And it was the plot to Thor Love and Thunder. Or what about a plot where Guardians of the Galaxy 3? And they were like, no, we can't do that for the show because it's already in development for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So they basically pitched the plot to 3 different movies. And Disney had to go, we're already in development with those plots. They already exist.
Well, I guess great minds think alike. I don't know.
I guess I just thought it was funny that they basically... It's technically for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, it was half of the plot was ruined.
Yeah. But
it's still kind of funny that Disney had to go, we can't do that. And they had to go, why? And they went, because we're already making it. Clerks 3 has started production. Let's hope it's better than Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
That's a low bar, I think.
It is a low bar, but they also hit that low bar whenever they made the Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
I mean, fair enough. I like that movie more than you did, but
I guess so. It was not a great movie. I don't know. It was not. I wouldn't watch it again. Taika Waititi is directing a live-action Flash Gordon movie. It was apparently going to be a animated movie, and then now it's just been, they switched it. Like they said they're doing live action instead of animated, so that's cool. I like Taika Waititi. The old
Flash Gordon theme.
I think they'll have the old Flash Gordon if he's still alive in the movie at some point.
Oh, that'd be great.
I'm pretty sure they'll do like a cameo if he's still alive. I don't know why they wouldn't. I can't imagine it's a super serious movie. It's got Taika Waititi helming it.
I mean, true. I love that guy.
I do too. All right, I guess we'll get into the topic at hand, Gunpowder Milkshake. Synopsis here. After killing the son of a mob boss, when a job goes wrong, Sam must protect herself and a little girl while running from the Firm, a global company that controls the world, who has given her location to the mob boss. Release information. It was released on Netflix in the U.S. July 14th, 2021. As far as development goes, I couldn't find like anything besides like the actors taking roles. So I couldn't really find like any like development information about the script writing process or the development of the movie process. So it must have been pretty boring, I guess. Notable people. I forgot to look up how to pronounce his name. So Navit Papashado is the director and the writer, along with Uwe Levitsky. The leads is Karen Gillan as Sam, and Chloe Coleman as Emily, the little girl. You got Lena Headey as Scarlett, Sam's mom, Paul Giamatti as Nathan, Carla Gugino as Madeline, Ralph Anision as Jim McAllister. Believe he was the mob boss. Angela Bassett as Anna May, and Michelle Yeoh as Florence. There are no awards or nominations because the movie just came out. Rotten Tomatoes has a 63 critic score and a 51 audience score. Metacritic has a 48 Metascore and a 3.9 user score. And IMDb has a 6.0 out of 10. So not looking great. What did you think? Spoiler free review here.
I enjoyed it a lot. I can see why people wouldn't enjoy it. I can see why somebody might think it was derivative. I could see why somebody might think it was boring, or things along that line, or maybe they're just not into it. But for me, it struck a chord, and I enjoyed it, and I was happily engaged with it the entire time. It was kind of witty. There were a lot of humorous moments to me, or moments that I laughed out loud. There was a lot of action, a lot of blood. Some of my favorite scenes are just the fight scenes and how ridiculous over the top they are. All the bad guys were white dudes, and almost all the protagonists were women, and the cast of women was diverse, which was a direct contrast, and I have to assume was a purposeful choice. From the antagonists.
All antagonists should be white dudes, as the world works.
Right. And so I don't know. It was enjoyable to me from that sort of meta perspective. And yeah, I don't know.
I agree. I think I liked the action. I liked the comedy of the movie, but I did feel like the movie was trying really hard to be like a John Wick style action movie, but didn't really put any character development to back it up. Like there was some character development at the beginning whenever you had the diner scene. And most of the characters felt one-dimensional except for the child, Emily. It may have been a directing choice, but not one that I super cared for. I was hoping for like woman empowerment movie and got something sort of like that, but didn't really live up to it as much as I was expecting, I guess. But I thought it was a good action flick that, as long as you're not looking for anything super deep, it still is enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, along that John Wick line, there were a lot of, I guess, close quarters fights with improvised weapons. And I thought that was really, really fun, but I can see why, like I said, why somebody would think that maybe it was kind of derivative.
Yeah. What do you think? Should we watch it?
Yeah, I mean, I would check it out. It's again, like you said, it's kind of just a fun popcorn movie. If you're looking for some sort of deep experience, you're not going to get it with this movie, but it's got a workable plot. It's got great cinematography, and it's worth a check at least.
And great, I mean, as I put in the spoiler section, which I don't know why, it's got great music. Like the music is spot on. Like I will say that about this movie. Like the musical choices that they make are great. Like just great music. But I'll say if you like action movies, for the sake of action or just in general, then I would say watch the movie. If you're expecting something more like plot wise, then I would skip it unless you're just wanting something fun. Like it's a fun movie. I guess we'll get into spoiler zone.
Spoiler zone. Let's do it.
Let's do it. What do you want to talk about first?
I guess speaking of cinematography, let's talk about the color in the film. All the color in the movie, like the movie itself has a really dark palette. Like it all takes place at night, more or less. So the colors are super saturated, so they pop out a lot. There's a lot of neon and a lot of like the one of the things that pops out to me was like in the bowling alley fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had that like rainbow wall that really obscured a lot of the foreground like color and lighting because it was just so prominent in the background. And I thought that lent a really neat color palette to that entire scene. And then the librarians, the other place where I really noticed the color was with the librarians and how they each went to their sort of own section of the library. And when they were in their own section, that section matched the color of the suits that they had been wearing the entire movie. And the color palette in that room, like, not only did it match, like, I suppose there were various shades of the primary color that they were using, but also there was a sort of filter on the lens itself. It felt like that was adding more color to it.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that. That's interesting.
So I don't know. It was just it was neat to see them, kind of go with motifs and really stick with them in various ways. I think you have down here about the book and library motif, right?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of motifs that they went through in this movie. I thought it, like you were talking about, the interesting thing about the book or library motif, which is the library was where they kind of, I guess, the lady assassin group, their home base was, and every book in the library appeared to have some sort of weapon in it, which I thought was really interesting, especially thinking about, like, what if just some rando comes into your library and starts looking through your books?
Right. He doesn't go to the desk. He just starts browsing books.
Yeah. Like, what a terrible situation that would be. But I thought it was interesting that like, the books, having their own weight to them based on the information within the book, on top of having whatever weapon or instrument is inside of the book, was an interesting thought.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was neat how it was done. Like, one, there were just so many like sort of literary references or puns that that they threw out there, which I thought was really fun. And then they never overly explain them either, I guess. So
yeah, they don't like shove it in your face or anything. They kind of try to leave it. I guess that's one of the the good parts about this movie is they kind of leave it up to your discretion or your involvement in those books in general.
Right. Yeah. They give you they throw out the joke or the reference or whatnot, and they just trust you as an audience to either get it or make up your own headcanon as to what that specific thing is referencing for, and like why that title is not only apt to the situation that's going on, but also the weapon inside it, has some sort of reference to the title or not,
Right.
I really like that.
I did too. You've got Karen Gillan here.
Yeah. Well, Karen Gillan, action star, right? Like,
yeah.
So like I first ran into Karen Gillan probably where a lot of people first ran into her in Doctor Who.
Right.
She was the original companion for the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith.
Yep.
And during her time on Doctor Who, she was more or less a girl in distress the whole time, right? And like kind of smitten with the Doctor.
I would say a girl in distress with power. She was definitely more had more power about her than Rory did.
I guess like she was assertive, and
that would
she
be the
was
word for it.
But she didn't seem like she had any super actiony bits in there. She was always sort of stumbling around or whatnot, except I guess the one episode where she was like left alone for 100 years or whatnot.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's and then after that she went to that show, I forget what it's called, but it was with John Cho. It was a take on some spoiled on My Fair Lady. It was like a modern day take on My Fair Lady kind of thing. And then she went and played Nebula, and like it's nice, it's neat to see her sort of carve out this sort of action star path. Like she got a taste of it with Nebula, and now she's like, no, this is kind of what I want to do. It seems like fun, and so it's neat seeing the evolution of her as an actor.
I mean, I would say like she did Nebula, and then she really came together as like an action star in the Jumanji movies.
Oh yeah.
And then she came to this where she's a full-on, like, that's all she is just an action star in this movie. But I feel like she kind of carved out the action star portion of it in Jumanji, because that's what she's just a kick-ass lady in that movie. Like, that's what she is.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And, you run into this problem a lot with sort of, I guess, model looking women. I don't know how to describe this, but like the sort of like undersized person who can still like throw a hard punch, right?
Right.
But I think in this movie, the way that they had the improvised weapons and, the particular weapons that they chose, like the suitcase that she was using or the bowling balls or, whatever, really lent to her frame being able to do the things that she was doing.
I mean, I'll say this: in all of the problems that I have with this movie, her being believable as an action star in the things that she did was not one of them.
Yeah,
I did not have any problems with her. It was very believable, her doing the things that she did in this movie. If that makes sense.
No, that makes absolute sense. That's kind of that's what I was trying to say. You put it way more succinctly than I could have.
Yeah, like she is all the action-y stuff that she did, all of the fighting she did was very believable in this movie.
Yeah, and speaking of like the things that they gave her to do, like the fight where she had like dead arms.
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny.
That was hilarious. Like, she just used her momentum. I don't understand how she squeezed a trigger, but whatever, I'm giving like some of that a pass, right?
Suspension of disbelief section.
Yeah. There was that. There was like, I don't understand why, like the doctor who injected her was like, yeah, after 60 seconds, she'll be a sitting duck, which seems to imply that it'll take 60 seconds for it to take effect.
Did you just say the Doctor Who?
But her arms were like dead immediately, so I don't understand why there was like this 60-second count.
Yeah, I don't understand either, because it's not like she got it back after 60 seconds or anything like that, which is kind of what it implies when he screamed 60 seconds. You would think that she would get her faculties back after 60 seconds, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, that was kind of the weird part of that. But then when she comes sliding out of the chair and just like randomly accidentally stabbing people and stuff, oh my God.
Yeah, that section of the movie was pretty brutal. I do want to say, like, whenever she first gets Emily, the little girl, and the people in the monster movie masks, which I liked, were running away, I did like that she staked the guy that played Dracula in the heart.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
To kill him. That was pretty good. What did you have on Paul Giamatti there?
I like Paul Giamatti. I was rooting for him not to die per se, because he seemed to, like, his character seemed to care about, Sam and her mom and the librarians in general. And he seemed to regret having to do what, he was told to do or whatnot.
I mean, yeah. At the same time, I was upset at the end of the movie whenever they're like, just tell the firm to leave us alone and everything will be fine. And I was like, no, I think you should kill all the very powerful white men that are controlling the world. I think that would be great. You should just murder all of them. You have the ability. That would be a great end of the movie, but I guess you couldn't have a sequel at that point.
Right, you gotta have Gunpowder Milkshake too.
I guess so. I just wanted them to like end the first movie and just be like, yeah, we're done with this.
It's funny too. I think at this juncture, if a movie did that where, it's it wraps up all its loose ends and it says, no, we're just going to be a movie, that's almost a risk. At the very least, it's an outlier today.
It's great. I think it would be great.
Yeah,
I would like it immensely. And if they pull a sequel out of it because of their own ingenuity and intelligence and creativity, then more power to them. Like, But I think it's great if they try to wrap things up perfectly within the first movie. That'd be awesome. What do you mean by the ammo burns talk?
Okay, so in the scene where what's her face? Madeline.
I have it up here. Let me look. Madeline, yeah.
Madeline is like has like the minigun in the van, and she's like mowing through people. Which first off, that dude should be dead. I don't know how she missed that guy.
Yeah.
Second, where did he go?
No idea.
Speaking of that fight, like they had to like fight their way through the library down into the basement of the library, I guess, to get to this van. And maybe there's an exit, and that's why there's a van there, I guess. But it seemed weird to me that they had to go through all that trouble to get there, and then he just kind of disappears after he abducts Emily.
Yeah, I don't know where he would have gone for that. I just kind of bought into it.
But what I mean by the ammo burns is like she's got that minigun, and there's a shot of like all these like shells like raining down on Emily, and
yeah,
I mean those aren't like cold, you know?
They're super cooling ammo.
It's cold explosions?
Yeah, they get cold real quick. It's a chemical reaction.
They got a special cooling agent like chemical in it. Yeah. So it just, it seemed like, that's not a safe place for a child. Like granted, nowhere in that library at that point is a safe place for that child, but to explicitly show ammo like raining down like in front of her, it seems like maybe she should have got burned a few hundred times.
Speaking of that end scene, I had a problem with them not swearing in front of a child.
Because that was kind of a weird rule.
The whole end of the movie, they're like saying swear words and like, oh, there's a child present, and then they just start murdering people in front of her. And I'm like, I feel like the swearing is better than murdering people in front of a child. Like, psychologically speaking, I'd rather swear in front of a child than murder someone in front of a child. But that's just me, I guess.
Well, I guess, but I think that also goes to I would rather swear than murder anybody, period.
That's what I'm saying.
Regardless of the involvement of a child.
Yeah, I guess in general. But I'm just saying if there's a child present and I had to choose one of the two, I would swear in front of the child than murder someone in front of the child. If I had to choose. I don't know. That was just kind of weird. I felt like it detracted from the movie. I didn't really find it like cute or funny. I just felt like it was dumb. But that might have just been me. I feel like a lot of the action sequences were very obviously telegraphed as like filmed at a different speed than what we were presented with. So it was obviously filmed at like a slower speed and then sped up. You can definitely tell it in the bowling action sequence.
I hadn't noticed, but that might be a thing that like once you sort of notice it once, you notice it everywhere kind of thing. And so, it's not really in my, head as a thing to watch out for.
I mean, I picked it up in the bowling. It was most prevalent in the bowling scene whenever she's fighting those guys there. Is it kind of like pretends to be this normal speed, I guess, but you can definitely tell that it's like sped up from a different, like they recorded it like at a normal speed and then sped it up. And that kind of took me out of that scene a little bit. I don't know. I guess another thing, like just the writing in general, the dialogue was poorly written. My wife kept pointing out the one-dimensional characters, and possibly being a director choice, that all the characters felt really stiff, if you know what I mean.
I can see that.
There wasn't a whole lot of Like they just basically played the same part the entire time, and the only person that didn't play the same part and kind of had their own like multi-dimensional facets to them was Emily the child. And that may just be she couldn't take directions. Like she just acted the way that she acted, and it happened to be multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
Or
I was gonna say I don't know that, or I don't understand why Sam didn't. When I understand why she was hemming and hawing over, telling Emily that she killed her dad or whatever. Like
Right.
I get that from a story perspective, but what I don't get is why she didn't say, I didn't mean to kill your dad. Like it was clearly an accident, like when it was happening.
Right.
And so it seems like maybe that would be an important piece of dialogue for her to say to Emily at some point in the movie.
And I think that's again like writing choices, just bad dialogue choices. I thought it was weird, her face scar from the very beginning of the movie when she gets her face cut.
Yeah.
There are scenes where she has a scar and then scenes where she doesn't. And that's more of like a inconsistency with makeup more than anything, but it's still like kind of took me out of it a little bit, where I was like, well, in the last scene she had the scar and then now she suddenly doesn't, and I don't understand what's happening. And then the rest of the movie the scar is gone, like they just forgot it. So like,
well, maybe it like fell off, during production, and they didn't, want to glue it back or something.
maybe I don't know. It fell off. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's those kind of consistency things bother me, and maybe it was a choice just from the standpoint of there weren't a whole lot of close-ups, and then when they were, setting up the shots for the close-ups, they just kind of, either forgot about it or weren't paying attention or whatnot.
Yeah. Maybe. I also like just didn't care when people died in this movie.
Yeah, well,
So
I mean,
when
there weren't
Madeline died, like there wasn't really any character development to make me care about her.
Yeah, I mean, she's the only
specifically.
person that I feel like died in the movie that you were supposed to care about.
But even then, like you see her once before she shows up again, and that was just her going like, "Oh, you're so and so's daughter. Like we knew her." Like, that's
Yeah.
about.
Although, having said that, I would be down for like a librarian movie from when they were, younger.
Yeah, that'd be
from
cool.
15 years ago or whatever.
They should have done that beforehand. Like they should have made. I mean, nobody is going to buy into this movie more than they would buy into a prequel before this happened movie. Like they could have come out with a Kick-Ass Lady Assassins Librarian movie before Gunpowder Milkshake, and everyone would have watched it the same amount that they watched Gunpowder Milkshake. Like they should have done that beforehand to build the characters up so that way we cared about the death in Gunpowder. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and it wasn't until like the very, I suppose, last scene or the lead up to, that last fight in the library, where I understood that Lena Headey's character, Sam's mom, was a librarian too, or when she, it was when Madeline was dying and she was like, it's nice to have, kids in the library again. I was like, oh, she was a librarian, and the librarians as a whole are the assassins for the firm.
Oh, I assumed that from the moment she showed up at the librarians with her bag.
Yeah, no, not at all. I didn't get that, at that point. Because I guess I was in a headspace where, they were just sort of random or not necessarily random, but, go-to contract killers that they hired. And they didn't have like an official affiliation or anything like that. But it does, the library does speak to a larger structure and network that the firm called upon. And I would like to see that explored a lot more.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they did. Hopefully this makes enough traction to make more. Like I would be fine with more movies about it. I did find it very cliche that at the end they drive into the sunset.
Like literally?
Literally, they're like driving into the sunset. Like, I thought that was, I I mean, I guess it works with the musical motifs that they had for. They had a lot of Western style, like spaghetti Western style music cues throughout this entire movie. And so I guess it works with that, but it also just felt kind of weird. And over the top. Like, just in general. But yeah, I mean, that's about all I have to say about that for my stuff.
All right, thanks, Forrest.
You're welcome.
I thought it was a generally enjoyable movie, and I think it's worth checking out if you want to watch an action movie and you're like, hey, well, what's a new action movie that I haven't seen? Yeah, here's one.
Right, I'm just warning you, it's not for anyone listening that's looking for like the next Die Hard. It's not something that I feel like is gonna enter your regular rotation, but it's definitely something that's worth watching, if that makes sense.
Makes sense to me.
Cool. Well, you can watch this movie on Netflix. And Guy, what are we reviewing next?
The Suicide Squad.
The old one?
No, the new one.
Oh boy.
It comes out in like 3 days on HBO Max in theaters, so
I'm looking forward to it. I might go see it both.
Oh yeah, really?
I might watch it in theaters and then watch it on HBO Max again. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's a James Gunn movie, so I have to assume it's going to be better than the last one.
I also assume that. I also have read a bunch of stuff, which I guess we'll talk about hopefully on the episode, about the previous director has come out on Twitter and a couple other places to say that the movie that came out was not his vision and was the studio's vision of the movie, and his director's cut is like 3+ hours long.
I mean, I'd watch it. So I don't know.
I would too. Like if HBO Max is like I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but if they're like his director's cut of the movie, like they did the Snyder's cut, like I'd watch his cut of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it seems like Warner Brothers did a lot of interfering in a lot of their movies, and I think there was a report about one of the studio notes that they got while filming Man of Steel was that they didn't want Superman to like blow up his ship or whatever, because how was he going to get back to Krypton?
That's dumb. Warner Brothers can eat a bag of dicks for all I care. Like, they can stop interfering with people that actually care about the source material that they're working with.
Yeah.
Like, geez.
So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's what we're doing. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you tune in next time for Suicide Squad, and we will see you later. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.